Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our Flash Talk today. Our topic today is about the emerging media and technology programs, and I have a special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi. Thank you, Sarah. My name's Michael Beam. I am the director of the School of Emerging Media and Technology and also a professor in the school.
Yeah, and I'm Sarah Sutter. I'm an international admissions counselor here. Dr. Beam has a presentation first, so I'm going to bring that up and then we can go through that.
Thank you very much. All right. So I'm hoping I'll move through this kind of quickly so we can answer any questions and have a chat. But I just thought it'd be good to give an overview of what our programs in EMAT are. Our school in Emerging Media and Technology has been here on campus for about 15 years. And it started as a program where we had a group of faculty here, including a computer science professor who helped found the school, who saw that technology jobs were becoming more interdisciplinary, that all industries were sort of converging to have technology. And while we had many wonderful disciplinary programs at Kent State, that there was an opening for a program that would combine sort of disciplinary focus with emerging media and technology. And that was sort of how our program came to be. We've graduated well over 1,000 master students in our program, as well as undergraduate students. So just to give an idea of what I mean by interdisciplinarity, if we look at sort of what do employers want, and this is some data from 2023, looking at some sort of the 500 biggest employers in the world, and you'll see that increasingly there's sort of a group of skills, regardless of the role, communication skills, understanding teamwork, understanding analysis and research, and understanding the process of project management are universally good skills, good soft skills to have, regardless of what role a person is in the industry. And thinking about the hard skills that are in demand, as this sort of HR world calls them, we see a lot of STEM tech skills. You'll see here Python and JavaScript and data analysis, cloud computing, and those are all things that are also baked into our program.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about the sort of what skills looking toward the future, in 2020, the World Economic Forum did a research study on sort of how is the workforce going to be changing over this decade. And they saw increasing demand. Again, this is sort of echoing the last few slides, data analysis, digital transformation, project management, and communication are all really core things. Here you see, down at the bottom, you see social media and graphic design, as well as business management, digital marketing, computer networking. And again, it's sort of this combination of communication, design, and technology that are relevant really across industries right now.
Mm-hmm.
And another way to think about sort of this interdisciplinary thinking that we try to do in our program, if you think about a web development team, and this could be an app team, you could throw a lot of different teams up as an example. You're going to have people on the team who are more focused on the business case, like the project manager and the project architect, or designers like the UI UX designers who are setting up the layout of the website or the web app. You're going to have the developers, the people who are doing the code, who are building the front and back ends. And then you're also going to have people who are understanding sort of the research, user research, testing whatever's being built and making sure it works well. And we could even zoom out here, and there are content specialists, people who are putting the content of whatever that website is. And I would argue, and we believe in our program, that regardless of which role students here would go into, everybody on the team benefits from understanding the fundamentals of marketing, software and web development, management, data, social media, and design, regardless of which role they specialize in. Students in our program is considered a human-computer interaction program. And I'd note that for international students, that is a STEM designated program by the US, so it does qualify for an extended OPT. So students are able to stay and work in the US for 3 years without visa sponsorship from employers.
Mhm.
That's an additional 2 years because this is considered a sort of high need STEM designated program in human computer interaction. And if you look at what are the jobs that people get in human computer interaction, you'll see web development, you'll see sort of web designers, and that can be more on the design side or the development side, and then project managers. But we have students in our program who go on into a variety of roles beyond just sort of what is on here in the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that really depends on where their disciplinary specialization comes in. And I'll explain that in just a minute with some
Mhm.
examples. So I'm going to first talk a little bit about our master's program. And our master's program is a 30 credit hour program that's designed to be completed in either 1 calendar year or maybe more traditionally 2 academic years. And we have students who move in both of those paces in the program. In our program, we have a foundation of human-computer interaction, design and communication, and project management. But we also have a lot of flexibility in our program. And that is really the key to our program, this interdisciplinary flexibility. So
Mhm.
about half of the program coursework is specified, and the other half is flexible, and it works. We work with students to figure out what are the skills that they're looking for. And I'll, again, have some examples of what that means here in just a second. So our core classes, we have 4 core classes in our master's program, and they teach skills in interdisciplinary thinking, design thinking, JavaScript, Python, and project management. And then another 4 or 5 classes are elective classes that could come from any of the graduate programs coursework across Kent State. And then students in the program either doing a capstone project, which I would say the bulk of our students do, or they go into a research thesis. And that's for students who are interested in research careers or going on to PhD. I'd say the majority of students in our master's program are doing the professional track.
Mhm.
I would note that the internship in the master's program is not required. So students can opt to do an additional elective, but we strongly recommend that if students are coming into our program and they're trying to get their foot in the door of, say, the technology industry, that doing an internship is really worth your while, because that's going to help after graduation. So we have 5 specializations in our program, and I just want to walk through a couple examples here so I can illustrate what is possible with our program. So here we have a student who specializes in our first and probably most popular specialization, data analytics and coding. So
Mhm.
here we have a student with a technology background who's working in a help desk role, sort of entry level in the technology industry. And this student came into our program and wanted to move into working in a social media company, working in media market operations. And so through skills in our program and interdisciplinary coursework from computer science, business, and media and communication, paired with our core, the student then was able to work as a program manager. In our second of 5 specializations, applied communication, information, and strategy. This is a specialization where we have students often coming in with media or communication or marketing backgrounds, and they want to tech up their skill set because they see that working in the industry, that technology skills and data analysis skills raise the ceiling of what's possible in the media industries. And so here we have a student who came in with a journalism background and wanted to work in political campaigns. And by taking coursework in sort of research, social science, media and communication, and user experience design, was able to then move out of the program to become a digital strategist at a political campaign firm. And that could be health campaigns. I mean, there's lots of roles. It could be advertising. To understand data and technology and usability, there's lots of roles there in the media industry. Our third of 5 specializations in the master's program is applied creative technology. And this is probably the second most popular specializations. A lot of students come into our program with design backgrounds, but they, again, want to add technology to their design so they can go out, raise their ceiling, and work in the web design and development industry. So here you could pair our core with some programming from computer science, more design from our user experience master's program, and visual design communication fundamentals from our VCD master's program to then go out and work in web design and development. Our fourth specialization, this is a partnership that we have with Educational Technology. And here we have, we're just seeing an explosion in the States of roles in corporate training, online corporate training. Really, ever since the pandemic, we saw more and more people getting onboarded in companies through asynchronous means rather than coming into a room and sort of the old style of corporate training. And so that means there's a lot of need in building software and building systems for these sort of online training. And so we have a training and development specialization. Students in this specialization might take courses from our ed tech program, our business program, and computer science in addition to our core to then work in that sort of area of cloud-based career development. The last of the 5 specializations, and probably least popular, is our social science research specialization. And this is for students who are interested in working in the sort of computational social science space, students who want to skill up and understand how to use data, but with theory, and understand how to sort of ask questions with theory and then answer them with computational tools. And so here, the sort of ceiling is to work in the technology industry as a user researcher or to pursue a PhD program after graduation. And say this is the track that students are most likely to choose a thesis option in a capstone. So that's our master's program. It's a 30 credit hour program, so it can be completed in 1 or 2 years. Our bachelor's programs, we have 2. We have an EMAT, Emerging Media and Technology bachelor's program, that has a very small course. So all undergraduate programs at Kent State are 120 credit hours, and they typically take 4 years. So a 31 credit hour program of the whole 120 required is a very compact program. That leaves up to 3/4 of the program for electives and general requirements. And that core includes interdisciplinary and design thinking, coding through web design classes and creative coding classes in JavaScript and Python in our data and EMAT class, project management. We have a class that teaches agile project management, human-computer interaction. And in this program, we require our students to select a minor. Minors are typically between 12 and 22 hours. And I'll talk about that in just a second, sort of how you can flex that emerging media and technology bachelor's program. We're also really excited to launch this fall a new bachelor's program in user experience design. We're going to be the first undergraduate major at an Ohio public university in user experience design.
Wow.
This is a collaboration between our school in emerging media and technology and the School of Visual Communication Design. And this program is a more specified program, so it's got 50 credit hours that are required. And it basically includes all of the stuff from the EMAT BS, but then also includes additional depth in user experience design, interaction design, motion design, typography, information design, as well as design theory and fundamentals that come from VCD. And we're really excited about the upside of this program because the user experience design industry is just one that's growing. And then both of these programs at the undergraduate level do require internships. And we also have an interdisciplinary projects class that is required in both of these programs. In that class, we work with nearby governments and small businesses and nonprofits to sort of execute a semester-long project.
Wow.
Some of those are websites and building apps. Some of them are more far out, like we just worked with a project with Design Innovation and the School of Theater and Dance to use volumetric video to create holograms of dancers and to put them into virtual space using a gaming engine called Unity.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, it's all over the place. So there's lots of interesting projects that we offer every semester. Wrapping up here. So like I said, all of our EMAT, our more flexible undergraduate programs, have to choose a minor. So if you think of a minor that includes technology, design thinking, and project management, and you chose a minor from our College of Public Health in health technologies and informatics, you would have a different career path than somebody who chose a minor in computer engineering technology from our College of Aeronautics and Engineering, or esports. And you can look at this list. We have over 70 minors at Kent State.
Wow.
The idea of this flexible program is taking the core of technology, but then whatever the student in that program has passion in, that they can apply it to whatever area that they want to have their career in. So that's it for sort of an overview of our programs. These are interdisciplinary human-computer interaction programs in emerging media and technology. Our website is just kent.edu/emat. And hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we're doing. I find that to be useful because often, because our name, Emerging Media and Technology, isn't a traditional discipline name like our partners in computer science or visual design, it's good to sort of hear what we're about.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't really realize it was so customizable, so that's really great.
Yeah, that's really, that customizability is really the core, the flexibility. Yeah.
Okay, well, now that we have a good overview of the programs, could you tell me if you have any current student or alumni success stories to share?
Yes, I'm actually, thanks for that. In the chat, I'll put a link. We actually keep a sort of ongoing website that has stories from our students. So, one story that I would point out here would be, we actually have a student who has a video here that we recorded when she was a student in the program, but we have an updated version of the story that we just followed up with. This is a student who came from Kazakhstan, and she had a background in education. So she had been a teacher, but she really wanted to come to the US and work in technology. And she was interested in design. She was interested in, she was a really strong and motivated communicator. And through working in our program, she actually got a job at a local software company in Akron, which is right nearby Kent, called MRI Software. And she's now working as a product owner, which is like in the project management cycle.
Wow.
So that's one story. Another story from Hamid Estajab, which would be in the first link. He was a student who came into our healthcare design program in our College of Architecture and Environmental and Design. And he took one of our EMAT coding classes as a graduate student as an elective. And he was so enthusiastic about it that he actually stayed and got a second master's or a dual degree in EMAT. And he then came out of the program with this understanding of healthcare design, working in architecture in designing emergency rooms, but also in technology and data. And you can see from the story that's linked there that a design firm in Columbus that specializes in healthcare facilities, they were so excited about his skill set to understand both the side of architectural design and programming that they created a role in their firm for him.
Wow.
And so now his job is to build dashboards. So as they're sort of working with prospective clients on projects, they can say, if I make this design choice or that design choice, how will it affect the quality of care? And he wrote software that can very easily, sort of.
That's amazing.
Do I put the intake room here or here? That kind of thing. So those are two. I mean, another one I would point out here. We had a student, Cassie Milicia, who she came in she was working in sort of a design role at a large multinational company, Goodyear,
Mhm.
that's a tire company nearby. And she came in to our program with an interest in um, improving her business skills. She really wanted to move from being a designer to being a manager.
Mhm.
And through our program, she was able to land a role as the sort of user experience director of Goodyear.
Mhm.
So those are three examples of stories, but there's more there.
Yeah, that's great. I put it in the public comments as well, so everybody can take a
Oh,
look.
sorry, I see that I
No,
put that
no
in the
worries.
wrong
I'm
thing.
not sure
Yes.
if you have access to it or not, but I
Yeah.
shared it over. Um, a question we get a lot from my international students, I'm not really sure, but do you have any scholarships or assistantships available within your department?
I should have mentioned that that is also one of the most common questions I get as well.
Hmm.
Um, the answer is no, that we are a self-pay program. We don't
Hmm.
fully fund our students. Um, the jobs that I was mentioning in my examples, those are all jobs that start at over $100,000 US
Wow.
salaries.
Hmm.
And now that's not guaranteed, of course, but we think that the value and investment is going to be, a good investment in yourself. And I think that many of the students in our programs have lived that.
Hmm.
However, certainly recognize that, coming to the U.S. and um, paying for a degree is a big commitment.
Yes,
I
definitely.
would say that especially our international students have had a lot of luck getting GA ships
Hmm.
at offices that are not like offices that are on campus, but
Hmm.
are not specific academic program offices.
Yep.
Um, that's not guaranteed, but I'd say maybe a quarter of our international students who have come in have been able to get jobs that do give them a tuition waiver.
Hmm.
We have an Office of Career Exploration and Development on campus that
Hmm.
they have a job portal called Handshake, and students often, are able to use that and find potential assistantships.
Yeah. And for our undergraduate students, we also have the Global Scholarship available through my office for the in-person students.
Wonderful. Yeah, we do have an endowed scholarship
Hmm.
that we typically offer to both undergraduate and graduate students. It's not a full scholarship, but it
Hmm.
does help for
Yeah,
students who are applying and getting that scholarship.
perfect. So how does your program work to make international students feel at home and involved within the community? It can be really scary for them, obviously, to be in a completely different country with new people. So.
That's a wonderful question. I'd say a few things. Um, I think if you talk to students in our program, that our program is a relatively small program compared to some on campus, and our students have a pretty tight-knit community. We have a pretty active student group called Black Squirrel Innovators, where
Mhm.
our students meet every week or every other week, depending on what time of the semester it is and how busy the students are. But they get guest speakers to come in, they get pizza, they, sort of have community there.
Mhm.
Um, they do things like they bring in 3D printers and they play with new technologies. Um, we um, we also, I would just say, have a pretty vibrant international community here at Kent State.
Yes,
We
definitely.
have over 2,000 international students
Mhm.
that come here to Kent State. And in my experience with our international students, not only do they plug into the other students in our program from a variety of domestic and international backgrounds, but often students are able to find communities here in Kent of students who have shared interests. We have
Mhm.
so many different student groups that are not just the one
Yes.
that's focused on ours.
Mhm.
And so whether you're joining a student group that's focused on, you know, a particular interest area or hobby,
Mhm.
I think that just there is robust community to be found if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any tips or advice for international students who plan to apply to one of your programs?
Yes. So I would say one of the things in our program that might be unique compared to many is we put a lot of emphasis on the statement of intent, that we want to understand that students coming into our programs understand that we're an interdisciplinary program and how the things in our program are going to help them reach their goal.
Hmm.
And our students, because we're an interdisciplinary program, have a very wide variety of goals. And so we just want to make sure that the students we admit into the program are a good fit and that our program is going to help them to their dreams.
Yes.
And so, I'd say the biggest sort of thing that we could reach out afterward and maybe ask for an interview, which isn't
Hmm.
required into our programs. But sometimes we get very generic statements of intent that have probably been written for a variety of programs or maybe a
Hmm.
disciplinary program. And when we read it, we don't see what our program is doing to help the student reach their goals.
Hmm.
We don't require GRE for our program. So we want in that statement of intent really an understanding of where have you been, where are you now, and where do you want to go, and how does our program fit into that?
Yeah, perfect. Could you talk a little bit about the faculty qualifications and their skills?
Sure.
Mhm.
So we've got a wonderful faculty, and I should maybe back up and say when you were asking about community,
Mhm.
we have a really vibrant faculty community as well. And I think most students would agree that our faculty are very open door, happy to talk to students, and many of our students develop close relationships and end up working, even as paid researchers on teams. And
Mhm.
I've got a group actually working on a project about generative AI
Wow.
and mental health, working over in
Wow.
the conference room right now. That's got
Mhm.
a couple students from our program who are on the project. So be, our program is unique at Kent State. We don't have, most programs have a faculty that is like a faculty of blah, whatever the
Mhm.
discipline is. Our program is different. We actually have an interdisciplinary faculty group that have their homes in all these different places, and then we buy out their time and they come to our faculty meetings. So we have faculty who are PhDs in educational technology, as well as MFAs in design,
Mhm.
PhDs in social science, and they come from these different disciplinary backgrounds. They're all accomplished researchers and designers in their own right, but
Mhm.
they bring a variety of skills. So
Yeah.
when you come through our program, you can expect to, take a programming class from somebody that might have worked professionally for 20 years in big technology companies, but then take a human computer interaction class from a social scientist who has 10 or 15 years of academic research experience.
Mhm. Yeah, that really makes sense with your customizable program that you'd have a really diverse faculty as well. So last question here. What do you think is the most difficult part of completing a degree in one of your programs?
It's a good question. I think that probably in all academic programs, the most challenging thing is just sort of time management. There's a lot of
Definitely.
demands on our students' times.
Hmm.
Many of our students are working either on campus or off campus internship jobs. They're, negotiating, if they're international students, they're negotiating coming into a new place
Hmm.
and creating a new community of their network. And then you've got coursework in
Right.
technology and design and any one of those pieces on their own are uh, surmountable with the right amount of motivation, and altogether they're also completely doable. And we all, we have, like on our undergraduate program, we have 100% retention rate, which is kind
Wow.
of unheard of.
Yeah.
Our students, they make it through the program. So
Hmm.
I'm really happy to say that. And, but I just think that, coming into a college program is going to require time management and juggling.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll put up the website for your department here in case students want to research anything more. Do you
Thank
have
you.
any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Sure. I would just say that I and my colleagues are very happy to spend time talking to students who are interested in our program. So if you're hearing this or seeing this and you think maybe I'm interested, but I want more details, please email us at emat@kent.edu that you've got up there. That email will get to me, and I would be more than happy to set up a virtual talk, or if you're in the area, come in here on Kent campus, and let's talk about where this program could help you to what you want to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, and thank you to all of our viewers. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Bye-bye.
Bye.